Hello and welcome back to the Macca's Talk Hockey Podcast, the podcast where me and my brother Charlie say hello,
Hello.
talk about English ice hockey, specifically the NIHL, the National Ice Hockey, the league we love and enjoy. And today's episode is not Bracknell Bees, the Bees Ice Hockey Club special. We still know them as the Bracknell Bees, and we've got a very special interview with Bees forward and defenseman Will Stead. And what a guy he is! Really sound, isn't he, Charlie?
Yeah, proper nice geezer. Underrated. And
Yeah,
yeah, we
he's got
really.
he's got that proper Bracknell accent, and he.
Yeah, he does. He'll laugh at us saying that.
Yeah, Charlie, what is the beverage? We've literally just filmed our Solway one, so we've got the same stuff, the Diet Coke and the Tango. Should we get straight into it then, Charlie?
Yeah, let's go into Bees last season.
Actually, quickly, before we do, thank you so much for all the support we've had on these, by the way. We're absolutely loving doing these team specials, getting these interviews with players. The hockey community is just amazing. So make sure you do follow our socials at Macca's Talk Hockey. But yeah, let's get into it. Bees last year, 10th position, Charlie. It was a tough year for them, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. They just didn't have the players really to keep up with the busy schedule. Will Stead talks about where they don't have the squad depth and the players to keep them going. And I think that was the main thing for them last year. And their coach being out 20 games didn't help.
Yeah, just to put it in perspective, Scott Spearing had to come in and play 8 games last season for them, and he hasn't played since the 18-19 season. So I think that says a lot. Nothing against Scott Spearing, but the guys had to come out of retirement to come and play for him because they've got 10, 12 players to play a game at a very competitive national ice hockey level. So yeah, I think they just struggled a lot with squad depth. But as we go into a bit later, their squad, they've got a lot of players, and Bison have helped that. Let's not lie to ourselves, but they have got a lot of players, haven't they, Charlie?
Yeah, I put their squad down on paper, and then I gone and done their lines today, and I'm like, "Ooh, their team's good. There's no bad team in this national league, and teams will get underrated if you don't turn up in a cold, rainy night in Slough. You will get beat."
Well, looking back at last season, they didn't have a great season in terms of position-wise, but there were some positives to take. Let's start with Brendan Welcome. What a player. What a goal scorer, Johnny.
And shot from everywhere. No, he was definitely a personality on the ice as well, you could tell. For a team which didn't do great, you had a player who played pretty much every game of the season and scored a goal every game.
Yep. 35 minutes plus of ice time. I reckon he even hit like 40 minutes maybe in some games. Like, he was a joke. He got like 51 goals, is it, Charlie? So he nearly got a goal per game, which in this league is fantastic. And yeah, it's a shame that he's not actually with Bees next year. They are going to miss him.
Yeah, their goals, the goals you're always going to miss. But I think they've got such a better squad on paper this year.
Yeah, it's a more well-rounded squad. They still have got that extra import spot available as we're recording this. Who knows whether they're going to actually get another import in? They might get one mid-season. But yeah, they are going to miss Welcome, but they have brought in Antonov. But we'll go into that a bit later after the interview. Gabaj, full-time coach. Now, Gabaj had a bit of a weird season, didn't he, last season?
Yeah, he got very unfortunate. He picked up an injury, and then he got a 10-match ban against Swindon for to the head, and we know the check to head rule was very strict last year. So yeah, it was difficult for him because it felt like whenever he got going, he got stopped again.
Yeah, but he's got that full-time coach role now. So he's a player coach full-time. Doug Shepherd is no longer with the Bees. So I think that's good for him because he can properly focus on it now.
I thought I'd let you know.
What's that, sorry?
Still the director.
Oh, my bad. So he's still the director, but Gabaj has been upgraded to that full-time coach role now, hasn't he, Charlie?
Yeah, he has. And
right.
I think Bees improved their style of play when Gabaj became the full-time head coach, but they just didn't have the squad to compete, really. So in the sense of they were playing with 12 players for a lot of the games at the end of last season.
Yeah, and they've got a full season with Gabaj who can snipe a puck from anywhere. And if Bees need someone to get them out the mud, he is that player. So he's going to be huge for them next season. Another player I wanted to touch on was Alan Lack, who came into the Bees last season, and he is one of your favourite players, isn't he, Charlie?
Well, we had a joke. Alan Lack, I remember seeing him, and maybe he doesn't look like your traditional ice hockey player. And then he goes and scraps it out, scores goals from everywhere, gets assists, was on their top line power play. And I did have a joke with a lot of people. Alan Lack, get on Swindon's top line, get on Leeds' top line. Alan Lack, the foot of the National League. And then whenever he'd score a hat-trick in an away game, I'd be saying, well, Alan Lack's back.
He did get one. I can't remember who it was against, but he got 23. Yeah, was it against Leeds? Well, he got 23 points last season. Actually, I was looking back at his elite prospects, and he wasn't really much of a point scorer, and you can see in his game, but he actually got 23 points, which I thought was very good. But unfortunately, they do not have him next season. So I think they are going to miss him in some ways because he was that perfect grinder forward, wasn't he?
Yeah, the GOAT has left the league. He has left. Yeah. He has left, and he's gone to Chelmsford.
And another player, we'll get into the interview in a minute, is Will Stead, who did have to play the majority of the season as a D-man. So, Charlie, you are right on this one. For context, me and Charlie had a little debate when we were at the airport. Random, I know, but we were thinking about getting Will Stead on the podcast, and we were debating whether he played D-man more. And I went, nah, he's a forward. He's got all these points. He is a forward, and he prefers forward, but he did play more in D, as you'll see in the interview. So fair enough, Charlie. You can have that one. 1-0 to you. But he was great last season, wasn't he? And a massive improvement from the seasons before at Bees.
Yeah, he got loads of ice time, loads of opportunity, and he took it. And yeah, for me, he's really underrated around the league. I've barely ever seen anyone talk about him, and I think he's a really, really good National League player now. And the interview is just ass. So
yeah, I can imagine it was very tough for the players having to play that amount of ice time, but it can also be very beneficial. They're getting ice time against the top players from every team, and when you get the ice time, you improve. So hopefully we can see that with some more young players around the league, because let's not forget he's only 24 as well. Talking to Will Stead, let's get into the interview, Charlie, because it is a banger. And then after, we'll go through the squad they've got for this season, who they've signed, and the lines we play, expectations, one to watch. Let's get into the interview, Charlie. Let's go. Hello, welcome back. We've got a very special interview. Charlie, do you want to announce him?
Yeah, we would like to welcome onto the podcast today a player who is very versatile, playing forward and D. He's been a part of the Bracknell Bees Junior system since he was very young. He's had his best season in a Bees shirt, scoring a point a game. We would like to welcome onto the pod Will Stead. How you doing, mate?
I'm good, thanks. Cheers for having me on, fellas.
That's all right. How's your summer been? Has it been all right?
Yeah, it's been not bad. A bit of a quiet one. Went on a few holidays. Just getting ready for the season to start again, basically.
Yeah, just nice to get away from hockey after all them games.
Yeah, it's an intense season. Like, there's a lot of games. So it's good to have a little break, but after 3 weeks, I'm missing it already. So I'm just ready to get back.
Have you managed to get back on the ice? Have you managed to get a few skating sessions in?
Well, it was supposed to be our first one on Thursday, but there was a mix-up with the ice.
Okay.
So we didn't actually get on the ice. It was a bit of a nightmare with the Queen Bees and the figure skaters, and so we all got there and we all had to go home. It was a bit upsetting, to be honest.
Okay. Hopefully next Thursday then, eh?
Yeah. Next Thursday we got one.
Nice. We'll go back to the start then. So as Charlie said, you've been with the Bees pretty much your whole career, coming through the juniors, and then you playing in the NIHL 1, the Hornets, and now you're in the main team. What's that journey been like through? I'm guessing you're from Bracknell. Are you from Bracknell?
Yeah, I'm from Bracknell. I was born in Bracknell, so I've been living there my whole life. Obviously played juniors there. I've never looked to change to any other team because it's just home is closest to me. So going up through the juniors and then getting the opportunity to play for the Hornets, and then for the Bees, it's just everything I wanted as a kid. So yeah, I really enjoy playing there.
Yeah, it's nice to hear. And me and Charlie, we were very impressed because you doubled the amount of points plus more. You got, how many was it, Charlie? Was it 52 points? What do you think was the turning point from 2 seasons ago to this season in your career?
A turning point. I just tried to get better and better. Yeah, I think the coaches, Doug and Dom, having more faith in me to play more minutes.
Yeah.
I've just been trying to improve each year, and I feel like I've done that. My first year, Doug bringing me in, and then the second one, I kind of got a few points. And towards the end of that season, I remember from January onwards, I was actually thinking I started to pick up the points, and then come September this season, I just I started off as D, played a little bit of forward as well, and I just had a good year personally.
We've had a bit of a debate here. What is your preferred position? Because I think you're very decent at forward. You're also good at defence, but what do you prefer playing?
I prefer playing forward.
That wasn't the debate. That wasn't the debate.
I've been a forward my whole, obviously since the juniors. Always played forward, and obviously I've got a brother who plays D.
Yeah.
But I think just at the end of last season, we were struggling for D in the playoffs. I think Moggy was injured, and he's gone to Bristol. Ed Bradley was out injured as well, so we needed someone to drop back D, and Doug asked me to do it on the bench, and I was like, yeah, I'll do it. Obviously, anything for the team kind of thing, playoffs.
Yeah.
And I kind of just stuck to it. Obviously, I've had a brother play D my whole career, so I've always looked and watched him play, so I kind of knew what I was doing. And I kind of did well there. And then obviously around the league, there's a short defenseman around the league. So
yeah, 100%.
When Doug seen me play there and he said I had a good 8 playoff games or whatever it was, he asked me if I'd happily play there, and I said, yeah, I'll play wherever you want me to play. I prefer playing as a forward, but if you need me to be a D man because we're struggling for D, then I'll play D.
Oh, I like that. Do you prefer playing forward though? Is that what you prefer?
Yeah, for sure. I like getting forward, getting down the ice. Like it's completely different. As a D man, it's a lot harder than you'd actually imagine. You've got to be so much more switched on. You can't switch off at all. So it was tough to get used to. But being a forward, it's the same. It's a lot harder, like physically and fitness wise, to be a forward. But as a D, you get a lot of breaks out there. And I played a lot more minutes as a D, but I prefer just getting down the ice, like shots, like on the forecheck, playing the body.
Yeah. Well, that leads me into my next question, which was about your brother, because we actually watched Harvey when he was just coming up, and he came to Swindon for a season. What's it like playing with Harvey? Have you played on the same line as him, or you're on separate?
Yeah, we did start off as the parents at some point. It changes throughout the season, but there's definitely been games we've played a lot together. He's always been really good. He's always been the number one favorite child hockey player. He's always been him. So it's just it's really good. He really helped me playing in D. It was always helping me out, whatever. And when you're playing alongside him, it's so easy just to be calm and collective because he is as well. So we worked well together when playing D.
He's improved a lot as well since we watched him at Swindon. So yeah, he's definitely someone who young players should learn off, and I'm sure a few of the players who join Bees will learn off him next season as well. Charlie, do you want to drop a question in?
So obviously you were part of Bracknell, and sadly we loved the Bracknell rink, me and my brother. We loved the hockey there. How has it been losing the Bracknell rink, and what has it been like? Because I can imagine being a kid who's literally watched, I think, your parents or uncle or whatever played up in that rink as well. What's it been like?
It was a bit heartbreaking. Like it was on my doorstep, 7 minutes drive down to get to the rink. I think as a kid I used to spend more time there at home, like going to watch my brother play, or I was playing or training. Like we'd be there. Sometimes I was training 4 nights a week when I was 15 years old, and then playing Saturday and Sunday. So I was there like all the time ever since I was 6-7 years old. So it was a bit when we found out during COVID time, and I never ever thought it would close down. I knew it was in a bad way because me and my brother both worked there at some point, so I knew that it wasn't making money and it was a struggle. But consider as you said, my uncle played there. He played for the Bees when we were younger, so watching him playing and being able to play there. So yeah, when it closed down, it was a bit gutting. Yeah.
Did it take time to adjust to the Slough rink? Because it is a lot smaller than the Bees rink.
Yeah, so I used to like playing on a big ice. I always liked playing on big ice. Bracknell was a big ice. I loved playing it. Everyone hated it because it was nice, because it was hot, and I was just used to being this big hot ice that no one liked to play on.
Yeah.
And then going to Slough, and then playing at Slough for a year, it took a while to get used to, and then I was used to it. But now we go to Sheffield and the bigger rinks. I hate it. I hate playing on a big ice now.
Really?
I'm so used to the small ice now, and like being able to get from one end to the other quicker. Going onto these big ices is a massive difference. So
because we find with Slough, you literally went from the opposite. You went from an Olympic-size ice pad to a ice pad where the neutral zone, I think Neil Lydiard told us, he goes, you're skating backwards as a D-man. You go through the first line and you're already at the second line. It's like, so how is it like with the neutral zone, especially? Because we find that really interesting with Slough.
Yeah, it just means you just need to get to red and probably put pucks in, no toe dragging in the neutral zone, all that stuff. Not that I do that anyway, but to get inside the red, chip it in, because it's a lot harder to get into the zone with these smaller zones, neutral zones.
For the people who don't really know much about your game, how would you describe yourself as a player? What are your best attributes which you can give to the Bees?
I always thought a type of player I always tried to be is just make sure I'm making no mistakes, making sure the puck gets in, no turnovers on the blue line, just all of that stuff. And that's kind of always what I've been like. I never really got goal scorer, even as juniors. Like, there's always people who's getting goals more goals than me. Like, my shooting is something I'm always trying to work on. But just making sure like the puck gets in, getting on the forward check, bringing energy. I like playing centre. It's my favourite position. I like trying to win face-offs. I feel like I'm pretty good on the draws. And I like to make a good pass, get an assist, get a goal.
Well, I think the hard work's paid off, because you went from 22 points a season before to 54 this season. So you must be quite happy with the improvement you've made since the season before.
Yeah, I'm happy with the improvement. Of each season, I'm trying to improve. I set myself goals. Like, next year, I want to improve the same amount as I improved last year. So
yeah,
personally, it was a good year. Obviously, as a team, it wasn't the best year for us. And so all them points, they kind of mean nothing if you're going to sit bottom of the league. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Looking at the team, you've got you mentioned Dom earlier. You've got Dom as is he the full-time coach now, player coach?
Full-time
player coach, and he was out for a few games last season. Was it a ban or an injury? He had to wear like a cage.
He had it was a nightmare. So he had an injury. So he was out for, I think he was like 4 or 5 weeks, and he's such an important player to us as well as a team.
Yeah.
He was out for 4 or 5 weeks, and then he got that 10-game hit into the head ban or something like that.
Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah.
There was a lot of them last year, but he got that 10. I can't remember what happened, but he got that 10-game ban. So he was out for a good 18, 19 games, and he's like one of the best players in the league. So to miss him last year really struggled for us.
But you got him signed up next season. Tell us about him. What is it? What makes him such a good player, and what makes him different from others?
I think he works so hard as well, off the puck and on the puck. Like, and he can just pick the puck up and go end to end and score. Like, there's a lot of imports who can do that, but there's not many guys in the league who can do that. And especially in a small ice like Slough, sometimes you just look and then you turn and he's just kind of come down the ice, and somehow how's he just put that in the goal? And it's crazy how some players can do that.
He's definitely got one of the best shots in the league.
Yeah, he's got a wicked shot on him as well.
Another player
standing in front of the net on the power play and training, and he's taking one time. It's never fun. It's never fun at all.
Another player who had a decent shot was Brendan Welcome, who's gone to obviously the German league. What was he like? Because he seemed like a fun character, and he did bag himself over 50 goals.
Yeah, he was wicked. He was a wicked character in our league. He's obviously same age as me. He's a wicked guy. Him getting 50 goals, his shoot from anywhere, that guy, like his shoot from on the goal line is constantly, I kind of thinking, like, I look at it because obviously you look up to these guys, you look to these guys like, what can I do to be better? So like he'd get the puck on the goal line and he'd try to squeeze it in, and they'd be like, what's he doing? But then it'll go in, and
it'll go off the back of the keeper and straight in the net.
Or like even I played a few when I was playing forward for a few games, because I probably played like 20% of my games as a forward last year, or maybe 25%. And a lot of the time I was playing with him. So like he'd be just busting down the wing, and I'd just throw it from centre wide, and he's gone. I knew every single time that he was busting down that wing, so I could just throw him the puck and hopefully it'll get through. And I knew he'd 9 times out of 10 he's putting that in the back of the net.
Yeah. Well, you have lost him this season, but you have brought in a Bees, would you say, is a legend? You've brought him back, Vanya Antonov, who is one of the most technical players in the league. What's it like to have him back in the squad ready for next season?
Yeah, it's a shame to lose Bren, and whatever, he's gone off to Germany. But bringing in Vanny's just like, it was obviously a downer to lose Bren, but bringing in Vanny was obviously pumped us boys up a bit. I've played with him since I was young, come through Bracknell as well. He's a phenomenal talent, and he's so fast, and when he gets his shot off, it goes straight in. It just goes top corner most of the time.
He's got such a high IQ as well. He's so intelligent. Charlie, go on. Have you got another question?
Oh yeah, it's a mix of Bees and then the old Basingstoke team this year. You've added some pieces there, and it's only gonna help you this season. I was gonna touch on the goalie though, because the Elite League fans were actually quite gutted when he left, and that's quite rare for a British player in the Elite League. So Brython Pierce, I think that's a huge addition to the Bees, having a goalie which I think definitely can sit on leads, I think, with him.
Yeah, it's good. It's a shame we lost Gossie again last year, and Matty's gone off to Bristol, and Gossie's retired. But I haven't seen him. I haven't seen him play. I haven't seen him train. But all I hear is good things about him on Twitter. I met him obviously in the room. Obviously, we didn't go on the ice, and he's quite a big lad. He's quite tall lad. So it's good to have a goalie back there that hopefully will be good for us.
Yeah, he looks really strong, really good.
Looking into next season, then, what's the you touched on it earlier, but what's your expectations going into this season, and what's the team's expectations going into next season?
For me, I just trying to improve on last year, help the team as much as I can. Obviously, I want to be like, I use points to look out how I'm progressing. So if I can just improve on last year and help the team, then I'm happy. And with the team's expectations, we want to obviously push into playoff spots. We feel like we've got a good enough roster to be up there for sure. It's much more full our roster now. Last year was a struggle. Sometimes we'd go to games with 6, 7 forwards and 4D, and we'd go to Leeds away with that, and we'd end up losing like 6-4 or something, or like 5-3. And it was so tough. Like, I think one of the games I was playing forward, just double shifting centre all game against like Kieran Brown and Cole Schuger, and they're just hammering you all game. And I'm literally playing like 30-some minutes as a forward. It was tough. So having Dom sign in a lot of guys, I think the whole roster, but it's a big roster. So and there's a lot of quality guys in there. Obviously, touched on from Bison. Which were obviously a lot of them guys have come from Bracknell as well, played at Bracknell, gone to Bison, so it shouldn't be an issue with like fitting in and stuff, because we've all played with each other before. So I'm looking forward to getting on the ice with them boys.
Charlie, go on.
It's going to be an exciting year, but we've got to end off with the question we always end off with. What's your message for the Bees fans?
What's my message for the Bees fans? Looking forward to seeing you all down in September. Hopefully we can pack out the rink, be nice and loud, and win some more hockey games and enjoy it.
Thank you very much. We appreciate you hopping on. Fellas. And the squad, I think you've got a real mix of experienced players, and then you've got some younger players in as well. I think Doughty's a really good addition for next season, because he's quality. So hopefully he got the big injury, but hopefully he recovers from that, and he'll be back next season.
Yeah, I think he's all recovering well. I think I haven't spoken too much to him, but he's a big player, and he gets in front of that net, and he gets in the areas some people don't want to get, and he puts the puck in the back of the net. So it's exactly what we need, and hopefully he helps us push on to maybe upsetting a lot of teams in the league. And I believe that we can generally do something this year.
Definitely. I think with that small rink as well, the ice pad, a lot of teams struggled to play on it, and you guys played on it the last couple of seasons. So, I think you're going to cause a lot of upsets next season.
Yeah, we've got to just make sure that we're following our game plan, our systems. We've got a big roster. If everyone buys into the same thing, then only good things can happen. So we just got to all focus and all listen to Dom, everything he wants to do, and feel like we could do something.
Thank you very much. We appreciate you hopping on, and we'll see you when we travel up from Swindon.
Yeah, I'll see you guys.
Welcome back. Thank you again to Will Stead. What an interview. What a guy. One of the nicest guys we've had on here. And we could have a chat with him after as well. Proper sound, wasn't he, Charlie?
Yeah, he's good geezer. And no, I really enjoyed that interview. And yeah, it gives you an insight of how much some of the players have got to go through as well. Like,
yeah. And he's a Man United fan, so that also is a bonus. So we were able to have a chat about Manchester United with him. Let's get into the squad then. So they've had quite a bit of a shake-up with the team. They've got some new players in. They've got some players who've left as well last season. Let's start with the goaltending, Charlie. Who have they brought in, and who did they try and bring in, but it didn't go through?
So they had an import. We'll start on the guy who they brought in. They were the team to shock the league, and they brought in an import, Tendy, and he left. That import Tendies was interesting. He had the number 69 on his back. He seemed like a funny fella, but he is gone. But they've replaced him very wisely. They've got a brand new goalie tandem this year with 2 new goalies coming into the league. One playing in the National One and one playing in the Elite League. So we'll start off with the backup goalie, which is Brett Shepherd. He is very young, very talented, played for the Slough Jets last year, and he's got a big opportunity. But the starter, the guy who's going to be big for them this year is Brython Pierce, playing for the Dundee Stars for the last couple seasons. Dundee fans seem to really highly rate him as well as the Elite League, and he's got a huge opportunity this season.
Yeah, well, a couple of Elite fans are actually quite shocked or disappointed for him to drop down a league. And for English netminders, that is quite surprising if they are surprised. So fair enough to him. I think, again, a bit like Bristol's, he's a bit older than Bristol's one, but it's going to be a new challenge for him. He's going to be a starting goaltender. He's still young. And yeah, I think he's going to be a big role in that team, that Bees team, isn't he?
Yeah, I actually think you'll be surprised with his age because he's a bit older than I think people expect him to be. 25. So he's got experience under his belt. And it's his first season, really, in his career since the 15-16 season where he's a starter. So a big season for him. Big season.
I think he'll learn a lot because when you go from being a backup netminder, it does take a bit of time. But you look at Rennie Marr, who was a backup netminder for Coventry. He came into Swindon and he's now one of the best keepers in the league. So he's definitely one to look out for. Let's go into the D then, because they have re-signed a few big D men and they've brought in a few youngsters, haven't they? So Harvey Stead, they've got him signed up for next season again. You know what you're getting with Harvey Stead.
Yeah, he's a quality D-man. Quality D-man. He get into every team in the league.
Yeah.
He passes and moves the puck really well, skates well, defends well, just really all-rounded player. He's also their assistant captain, so you know how much he means in that Bees community.
Yeah, he is probably, for me, one of the best players at snapping the puck from the defensive zone to one of the forwards. You saw it so many times last season. He would just get the puck, he'd look up, and he'd make the perfect pass to Welcome or whoever it was on the wing. So yeah, we saw him for a slight spell at Swindon, and he's improved so much since then as well. And he is Bees through and through. They've also got Stuart Mogg, the captain. You know what you're getting with him. Plenty of experience. And they've got Brendan Baird as well, who I think is quite, he's frustrating to play against, isn't he? He's down to wind anyone up.
He has a good game and he has a rubbish game. He's not bad, but he can. I just think it's like that.
He can lose his head a bit sometimes.
Yeah. And no, I don't mind him. I think he's a great third pair D-man, and I don't mind it. They've got some good D-men.
We'll see where we put him in lines, because I might have him slightly higher. And then the player they've signed actually is Josh Kelly. Now, he's been around the southern teams for a bit. He was started at Swindon, and then he went to Basingstoke last season. He's playing at Basingstoke for a couple of seasons, and now he's moved to Bees. So I think that's a good little signing, Charlie. He's got better. He's got much better. He did play for Bees. My bad.
He went from Swindon to Bees to Basingstoke to Bees.
To Bees.
So, yeah, he's I like him a lot. I really do like Josh Kelly. I think he moves the puck well, and I think he's a really good signing for them. They've also got 2 youngsters in Jack Hobbs and Samuel Cooper, and there's a big season for Samuel Cooper. I've heard some really good things.
Oh, yes. Sorry, the new guy played in America last season, didn't he?
So, yeah, he's had some two-way experience with Guildford, played a couple games for Raiders, so they've got him. And they've also got Oliver Nags on a two-way with, I believe, MK Thunder. There's some good, people have said some good things, but he's definitely there if there's a D-man who gets injured.
Yeah, Oliver Nags, he is the same age as you, Charlie. So 17, 18 years old. And that is nuts just thinking about it. So, yeah, a decent little decor, got some experience, got the youth. I like the mix between them, and we'll see who we do in our lines in a bit. Let's move on to the forwards then. The big man, he is back in the Bees, Vanya Antonov. That is a huge statement to the league. After losing Welcome, they've now brought in Antonov.
Yeah. Wow. Well, Vanya Antonov, really good player in this league, one of the top players, really good hockey IQ, rapid, snipes a puck from anywhere, and he loves bees. Yeah. I think that's also a nice thing to have. A player who loves the club, who'll do anything for the club. That's what I quite like about the Antonov, is the fans love him already. He loves the fans, he loves the club, and he's going to give everything he can for this team.
His hockey IQ is so vital, and he's not the biggest of players, he's not the strongest of players, but he's one of the most talented players. I'm not quite sure if he's going to be playing every game. I saw something somewhere, I don't know if it was true, that he might not be going to some away games, especially with the distance in some of them. Sorry, there's a moth on my wall. But yeah, that could be a bit of an issue, but yeah, he'll definitely be...
if he wasn't playing a lot of away games, because I think he is one of them players where he is a game breaker for Bees.
Yeah, he is. They've also brought in a few players from Basingstoke, obviously not too far to travel. Charlie, do you want to list them?
So they brought in the import Marcel Ballas. Yep. They brought in Aidan Doughty, the power play king. They brought in Edgars Landsberg and Liam Morris. So four of Basingstoke's good players.
Yeah, top players. Let's go into Marcel Ballas first. At the start, we were a bit curious on him last season. I think he was just trying to find his feet in the league. But actually, near the back end of the season, he's a very good two-way forward.
We got Basingstoke fan called Dan, who we know. And he really highly rated Ballas. He said his two-way game was really good. He chipped in with a lot of goals. And he said Ballas is one of them players. The things you don't notice he does is his best attribute. Yeah. And in this league, having a two-way centre or winger who does all the defensive work in a small rink like Slough is very important.
Yeah, I think it's a decent little signing, and he's a big body as well. He's a big body in that Bees team who have quite a lot of smaller players. So I think that's a positive positive signing. Aidan Doughty, he had that big injury last season. Do you think that's going to affect him going into this season, Charlie?
He's got to find his legs, but I'm sure he'll be scoring goals on the power play straight away.
He knows how to tip a puck in. He knows the positioning. He's played for Bees before as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, for me, Aidan Doughty, what I really like about him is he gets into the positions where the D-men don't want you to be. Yeah. He gets in front of the goalie and he's not afraid to get slashed on the leg, pushed around, because he knows if he's in that position, they don't want him there and he's going to cause mayhem.
In other words, he's a pain in the arse, which is not what defenders like to see. And then Liam Morris and Edgars Landsberg, not the tallest of players, but they know how to put the puck in the net and they work their arse off as well for the squad.
Yeah, I like the sign of Liam Morris. Really good penalty killer. Yeah. Can play D-man if you get very bad injuries there. You've got, he's just rapid. He does a big job. He's great on the penalty kill. Great, maybe top two line forward, potentially third line. Yeah. You've also got Edgars Landsberg, who he really stood out last year as well. He got half a point a game for Basingstoke, started to prove himself in the National League, and he'll want to keep improving on that.
Again, with Landsberg, it showed he didn't get too much ice time at Milton Keynes. He went to Basingstoke, got some more ice time, and he proved that he can put the puck in the net, and he's a very good player in this league to have on your second, third line. So, yeah, again, experience in the National Ice Hockey League. I think that's the key here. They've got a lot of players who've played in this league, know what it's about, and the main thing for me is they're all from Basingstoke. They've played before. It's not like you're chucking all these new players in the team. They've played together before, and a lot of them have played for Bees before as well. So I think that's very good. Another sign-in is Adam Rossbottom. I was impressed with him last season. He came from Slough. He was on a two-way, and he actually played a lot of games for Bees. I think he had some military stuff. I could be completely wrong on this, but he signed... RAF. But he's fully signed for Bees this season. What do you expect from him?
Rossbottom, he played in both last two National League seasons, but not too many games. 24 games in his first year, 16 points, which is really good. Yep. Then 9 games last year, 5 points. I think he's a really a perfect third line forward for the Bees.
Yeah.
He skates well. He's quite tall. So yeah, I like him. I like that signing, and I think he will chip in with lots of different elements of his game.
Yeah, he's big. He's a big body and he works hard, and I think that's going to be huge in this Bees team. And then they've got Will Stead. Obviously, we had the interview with him, and yeah, he's going to have an even better season. I think he's going to be playing full forward. Hopefully, that's what he's down on elite prospect. So I think they've got the decor to let him go forward. And then they've got Ryan Webb as well, and Danny Rose. So, Josh Smith, they announced today. Sorry, loads of players there, but they're all rotational players who I think, again, will just work hard for the badge, and they've played around in the Bees for a long time. Should we get into our lines
chance
then?
of an import coming in at some point? We don't know when or if they will get one, but if they do get an import, it can add a lot to that team as well.
Yeah, they've still got that slot available, so you never know. They could pick one up at any point. Let's get into our lines then. So the D pairings. This was I had to change these around a couple times actually.
Okay.
Do you want to go first, or shall I go first?
I'll go first. I'll take the first.
Go
on. Top pairing of Kelly and Mog. Put the captain together.
Wow.
Put Kelly with him. I like that pairing.
Wow, it's going to be tasty. We're going to get some disagreements going here, Charlie.
A second line pairing of Cooper and Stead. You need the youth with the experience, someone who doesn't make much mistakes. And a third line pairing of Brendan Baird and Hops.
Okay, well, that's not too bad. I think you could do any of these lines. I think making these D pairings was hard, and obviously it's down to Dom because he knows these players best. I've gone with Harvey Stead and Cooper on top line. I think I'll just be interested. I'm interested to see what Cooper's like. He's played in the American League, so he's going to be rapid. And then I've got Mog and Brendan Baird. I'm playing Baird based on my second line of attackers because he played for Basingstoke for a bit as well. And I've got a very big Basingstoke theme on the second line. And then the third line of Kelly and Hops or Nags. I think Kelly's got a big role on that third line. I think he's going to get plenty of ice time. So I think it's going to be a very big season for Josh Kelly. And he's still young as well. Yeah, I think their D could go anyway, Charlie.
Yeah, for me, I'd put the more experienced guy with Hops. That's just my opinion. I think Baird's got more National League experience to play with the younger player, and Kelly can play next to Mog and really thrive his game out. But either would work. Should we move on to the forwards? You can kick us off.
Right. So my first line, I think I'm going to have similar ones here. My first line is Vanya Antonov, Dom Gabaj, and Will Stead. Can we agree on that one?
Mine is the exact same as that. But I don't know who you play as the centre, but I think you play Gabaj and you have Will Stead as a winger.
Yeah, exactly that. I think, as Will said, he'd play anywhere for the team. And he'd play anywhere which the coach wants him. But I think Gabaj play at centre. You got Antonov and Stead behind him. I think as the wingers, I think that's perfect. And then we got the Basingstoke line I was on about. Balaz as the centre. Doughty and Morris. Liam Morris as the winger. You got the pace in Morris, and then you've got Doughty as the kind of drive towards the net, and then you've got Ballas the centreman. I've gone with the Basingstoke theme on the second line. Is yours a bit different?
I've got Ballas and Doughty, but I have Edgar's Landsberg.
Okay.
I think that Landsberg is more suited to a scoring role than Morris is.
Fair
I think
enough,
Morris is a third line penalty killer, and I think that's where Morris thrives the most. So I think that I personally would put Morris on the third line and put Landsberg on the second line, because I think Landsberg can fully focus on second line minutes and points, and Morris can fully focus on penalty killing and third line grinding and nitty gritty play, which I think Morris is excellent at.
That's a good explanation. And you can go either or, to be fair. I think either player's going to work hard on that second line. And then my third line would be Landsberg, Rossbottom, and I'm going to go Ryan Webb. I'm going to go Webb. I think he's got the experience. He may be a bit small, but he works hard, and he's actually quite a smart hockey player. So I'm going to go Webb, but you can mix it around. You can put the likes of Smith. You can put the likes of Danny Rose on there as well, Harkup. So yeah, I think the third line you can switch around. Charlie, have you got similar?
I've got Morris, Rossbottom, and Rose. When I watched Rose last year, I was quite impressed, so I quite liked him. And then I actually had a fourth line because they have 12 forwards of Webb, Smith, and Huckup.
Yeah,
so
Rose. Yeah, Rose has got a bit more experience than the other lads as well. So yeah, maybe you can go with Rose. So yeah, that's our lines. Expectations then, Charlie. What's your expectations for the Bees next season?
Well, the truth is, there's no team in this league which expectations will be to finish lower than 8th. Their expectation is to get in playoffs. And that is their expectation. And even for me, I expect them to get in playoffs. There are going to be 3 teams which miss out. But this team, if it works together, if it starts gelling together, this team can get playoffs. But it's all about, can they get their momentum? Can they make their home a fortress? So for me, their expectation is 8th. That you can't be expected to get lower than a playoff position with the squad they've got. But will they get 8th? We'll find out in my prediction.
Yeah, I'm on the similar lines. I think they're going to be one of the clubs to miss out. I'm sorry I'm going to be that downer. If Antonov isn't going to be going to these away games, I think they could have some really tough nights, especially with the level going up. And if they don't sign another import as well. But on the flip side of that, they've got a lot of experience, a lot of players who worked together before. And you look at the likes of Ballas, Doughty, Morris. As I said, they've all played together before. So maybe that experience could tip them into playoffs. As you said, it's going to be a battle for that playoffs position.
You'll see my reasoning why I think they'll be a wild card team. And I think they'll shock a lot of people with my ones to watch.
Okay. Right. Well, let's get into the ones to watch, and I'll go first on this one. My ones to watch. It's between 2. I'm not going to go for Will Stead because we've had him on the pod and we all know what he's like, and I think he's had his really big breakout season. I'm going to go with the defenseman, Cooper. He's played in America. He's had a couple of Elite League experience, as you said, with Guildford. I'm going to go with Cooper. I think he's got a big role. I've put him on top line with Stead. We'll see where he actually plays. Sorry. I'm going to go with Cooper in that defense. He's going to play a lot of minutes this season. So who's your ones to watch, Charlie?
My ones to watch is a player who I think could be the difference maker if they get playoffs. I think this is the first time they have had a goalie who could be one of the best goalies in this league.
Wow.
Who could be up there as the best. I'm not saying he's going to be, but he's come down from the Elite League with people talking about him, people saying he's this top-level goalie. Brython Pierce could single-handedly win Bees enough games to get them there. They've got a team which can grind, can work, can chip in goals, can get points. But if you've got a goalie who can win you games which you may not deserve to win, games which you don't think you're going to win, that's when you manage to get the position you don't think you are. And I generally think Brython Pierce is the man to watch for Bees this year, because if he does do well, Bees could shock so many teams. He really could. And he's come down from the Elite League, and my expectations for him are really high.
Wow, that was inspirational. That description right there, you've just sold it to everyone on the podcast. I'm sure he's going to have a good season, and we'll see what he's like. A new player in the league, and he's had a lot of hype.
He excites me a lot. He really does.
He excites me as well.
13 games and 17 games for Dundee. He's actually played in the Elite League. My expectations for him are really high, and I hope we have a goalie who's like sick in this league.
Yeah, that's a really good shout. Anything else to add on the Bees before we wrap it up?
I just think they'll shock a lot of teams, and I think Slough will be a difficult place to go to. Slough being a smaller rink, I think plays into Bees' advantage, and if they can just work hard, grind games out, I think Slough will be a difficult place to go to.
Definitely, the between both blue lines, it's not much of a difference, and this is their third year playing in that rink. So yeah, it's always a tough game in Slough because the tactics are just different. The tactics you practice on your rink just go out the window because you've got to play on this new one. So yeah, they're definitely going to cause some upsets. Let us know, Bees fans, what's your expectations for next season? Who's your ones to watch for next season? And fans around the league, who are you most excited to watch from the Bees? I think a lot of people are actually going to agree with you, Charlie, after that inspirational speech.
Yeah, maybe I went off on a bit of a tangent there, but
no, it was
I'm
good.
excited to watch him.
No, it's good. You bigged him up. You bigged him up big time, and I hope he lives up to your expectations. But
I do.
Yeah, get involved. If you don't already, follow our social media. Sorry, my mind went blank then. At Macca's Talk Hockey. Thank you again to Will Stead for hopping on. Very sound bloke, and I'm sure he'll hop on again in the future if we need him. So yeah, thank you for watching. Anything else, Charlie?
Nope, that's it. See you later. Goodbye.
Peace.